Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Shabbat class, the 3rd of August, 2024. Okay, I'm just going to pick up where I was left off this morning and read some more chapters out of Jasher, and we'll break it down. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos. A lot of information. If you like what you're hearing, receiving when watching these videos, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, our hours of operation are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is 9 to 7 p.m. Central Time. We come on Clubhouse on Friday nights for our men's advanced Bible study. That's from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. Then we have 2 Shabbat classes, one in the morning from 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time, and then we close out this Shabbat in the evening, 6 to 7. That's Central Time. Okay, for those that don't know, this is a Messianic channel. By that I mean we deal with Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, and the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. They consist of Israelites' laws, statutes, and judgments, and their culture, way of life. Okay. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence for our Creator and our Redeemer. We got a prayer, Psalms, we got current events, some need-to-know information, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A dialogue. Then we'll start reading out of Book of Jasher. Okay. Moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Lord, we come this day praising thee and worshiping thee, thy might and thy power and thy great understanding. O Lord, the end times that you have foretold are upon us. O Lord, give us strength and wisdom to endure all that has been foretold. And thank you for another Shabbat. Give us, O Lord, the knowledge to rightly divide thy word, that it is delivered in righteousness and in truth. There's confusion among your inheritance, O Lord, now that you are awakening them. For I know, the Lord, O Lord, that your hand is sure and that your hand is firm. O Lord, we need you so very much in these latter days. We will tarry and depend upon you, O Lord, because there is none else besides you. You are our deliverer and our redeemer. Peace be unto you. Okay? So with that being said, we'll read a song. Okay? This is Psalm 59. I'm reading this a prayer for deliverance. Okay? It says, deliver me from my enemies, O my God, and defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity, and save me from the bloody men. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, not for my transgression, nor for my sins, O Lord. They run and prepare themselves without my fault. Awake and help me, and behold, thou therefore, O Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, awake to visit all the heathens. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressor. Selah. They return at evening. They make a noise like a dog, and they go round about the city. Behold, they reach out with their mouths, swords are in their lips. For who say they do it here? But thou, O Lord, shall laugh at them. And thou have all the heathens in derision. Because of his strength will I wake upon them, for God is my defense. The God of my mercy shall prevent me. O God, shall let me see my desire upon my enemies. Slay them not, lest my people forget. Scatter them by thy power and bring them down, O Lord, our shield. For the sin of their mouths and the words of their lips, let them even be taken in their pride, and for cursing and lying which they speak. Consume them in wrath, consume them that they may not be, and let them know that God ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. Selah. And at evening, let them return, and let them make a noise like a dog, and go round about the city, and let them wander up and down for meat, and gorge, for they be not satisfied. For I will sing to thy power, yea, I will sing aloud of the mercy, yea, and I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. Unto thee, O my strength, will I sing, for God is my defense and the God of my mercy. Those Psalms 59, a prayer for deliverance. Anybody have any comments on that?
Shalom. Is that when Saul, um, King Saul set out to kill him?
Say that again.
That's when the King Saul set out his guards to kill him, to come and capture and kill David. That's when Saul was after David.
No, I don't think so. I think that's referring to, like I was saying in 2 Samuel, when David passed away, the wicked spirits came.
Mm.
If you notice in that psalm, it said that they come in the evening, they come in the morning, and they howl like a dog, but they think that nobody hear them. So that makes me think that these spirits.
Uh, I kind of looked at Saul, First Samuel 1:11, where it says
Okay.
Saul also sent a message unto David's house to watch him, and to a messenger unto David's house to watch him and to slay him to the in the morning. And Michelle, David's wife, told him, saying, if thou save not thou life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. And I think that's the time that he, sent out that prayer that he will, that King Saul's people won't catch him. If they're out to catch him, if they're out to do anything to him to, you know, protect him from his enemies. That's I've read 59 before, and I came to that conclusion. But if it's when he passed, then yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Does it reference Psalms 59?
Uh, no, sir, it did not. In in my book, no, sir.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, when it says that they come in the evening, they come in the morning. If you notice, I was talking about that the Israelites have to make three oblations. They make an oblation in the morning, they make one at noon, and one in the evening. And it also says that these uh, wicked, from my understanding, wicked spirits, they come and compass him about, like he said in 2 Samuel, and they howl like a dog, but they say that no one hear them. They assume nobody hear them. So if these are men, if these real men that came, you got to know where to hear them. But these, whatever this is, thinks that nobody hear them and nobody see them. So that's why I was assuming that it was wicked spirits. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we go to some current events.
So Amazon is sending warnings to millions and millions of Americans. But why? Why would Amazon give you a warning? Well, it's because you are broke. You don't have this anymore. What we have seen over the past couple of years, prices continue to go up. These are on for real estate. This is for cars. This is for food and vacations and gas and everything in between. But we are now seeing a very clear picture as to what the future looks like. And it looks like the American people don't have money for wants. All they have money for is needs. And even at that, it is just the bare necessities. So I'm going to break down what's going on and the troubles that we are about to face in the near future. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. Now, let's begin. So Amazon is sending a very clear picture, and they are warning the American people that things are going to get difficult and times will be tough. Just look at this. The concern right now is that the jobs report that came out yesterday, it stokes fears that the Federal Reserve may have waited too long to lower interest rates, that they kept rates at a high level for far too long because they were trying to fight inflation. Inflation is what has been taking your money. Here's the problem. Now businesses are struggling. Businesses needed this rate cut many months ago. They didn't get it. Now they're struggling. Now they can't grow. This is exactly what Amazon has been saying. But Amazon, look at this. Just the other day, Amazon's stock flashes this downtrend warning for the first time in over a year. And the reason for this is because Amazon fell yesterday by almost 9%, tumbled by 10-11% during trading. This is a 6-month low because of a disappointing second quarter report. Now, here's why this is so important. When you're shopping for a new pair of shoes, where do you go? Do you go to Walmart? Do you go to Target? Do you go to some outlet store? What about when you go and buy a new set of sponges for your kitchen sink? Or you want a new vacuum cleaner? Or you want something like some special spaghetti? Do you go and get it at Walmart, Target, Costco? Most people have been getting their items from Amazon. People receive about 2 packages a week at their doorstep. And in most cases, they're from Amazon. Amazon saying people aren't buying because they don't have this. They are broke. Now, here's why this is turning into a big issue. If Amazon is seeing that people aren't buying and that they're broke, guess what? Walmart is going to see the same thing. Target is going to see the same thing. Costco will see the same thing. Kohl's, Big Lots, they're all going to see the exact same thing. We've already heard that Big Lots is potentially going to go out of business. Big Lots could go bankrupt here this year. We have been hearing from many retailers that they're shutting down. But here's the big thing. And you're probably thinking, well, I don't work at Walmart or Big Lots. Why would I care if they shut down? Well, here's the reason why it's important. Let's say you work at Walmart. And no, they're not, laying millions of people off. They are not shutting down thousands of stores. Only a small fraction of stores are being shut down. Here's the reason why this is important. Let's say you work at Target, right? Decent place to work. What happens when Big Lots in your city decides to go under? What happens to all those employees that work at Big Lots? You think they just automatically decide, you know what, retail isn't for me, I'm out? No, they go to the next retail store. Walmart, right? Target, Costco, that's where they're going to go. So now you have more competition for your job. If you have more competition, guess what? Your employer is looking at it as, well, we don't need to give this guy an extra $2 an hour when we can hire this new person for less than what you are making today. So they can save $2, $3, $4, $5 an hour by hiring somebody new that's just coming in, right? It's going to save them money, which means at the end of the day, the business is going to make more, right? They're going to be more profitable. And for an investor like me, somebody that's just looking from the outside in, right? I want to make sure that my investment is being taken care of. As a shareholder, I want to make sure that I'm getting something in return, right? That's what we're looking at. Now, here's the other thing, and this is one of the reasons why this is scary. This is why Amazon's sending this warning to all Americans, is that if they are struggling and Walmart's going to be struggling and Target will be struggling, guess what's going to happen? Not only are they going to look at other ways to lower their costs, they could also bring in more employees, more newer employees, and they will lower your hours. So you're probably thinking, well, it's not a big deal because I've been working here for 15 years. I'm not going anywhere. That may be true, but they may look at you as more of a kind of mentor. And they're going to give you a mentorship role where you need to go and mentor this young group of kids so that they can come up and they can work there for 15 years. So they'll, instead of you working 40 hours a week, maybe 34, 35, I think it's like 34.4 hours is the average work week right now in the United States. Think what's coming. And they know what has happened to them. Is that the American people don't have money anymore. They are struggling. But look.
Okay. Any comments on that? Okay.
Economy, and no one in Washington seems to care about it. According to the United States Customs and Border Protection, 10 million illegal migrants have entered the United States illegally under the Biden administration. But sources that I've been speaking to, including former Customs and Border Protection Supervisor J.J. Carroll, he spent 24 years in the CBP, and author of the great book Invaded, his numbers are over 30 million illegal immigrants have poured across the U.S. southern border. And quite frankly, I trust his numbers, okay? Take a look at this chart that shows the number of illegal crossings at the southwest border. There's a massive increase since Biden took office in January 2021, an explosion, in fact. Yet the White House denies any culpability in this crisis, pointing to economic push factors in South and Central America. But see, this is interesting. When the United States actually destabilizes these countries, whether it's the Sudan or countries throughout Latin America, we go in there, we create a coup, we overthrow their governments, and then we wonder, why are all those people leaving those countries, coming from Yemen, coming from Sudan, coming from, you name it, coming into the United States because we meddled in their affairs. So it's very convenient to say that there are economic push factors in South and Central America pushing these people towards us, because the Biden administration, and frankly many Republicans, want these people to come into the United States. Listen to Joseph Edlow, the Deputy Director of Policy for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
The problem that we're saying right now are that the policies that have been put in place by this administration, specifically the regulatory actions aimed at credible fear determinations and at how the immigration courts are supposed to function, do exactly the opposite. The circumventing lawful pathways regulation, which creates a presumption that someone is or is not eligible for asylum if they come over unlawfully, there are so many loopholes in that one that if you bring a child, you're going to be able to go claim asylum, whereas you wouldn't if you didn't have a child. So it's going to encourage more illegal immigration, more families coming across. Certainly the memorandum from Secretary Mayorkas that limits the amount of, or that limits the categories rather of people who can be removed. Again, those are so narrowly defined that it's going to create an incentive, not a disincentive for people to come over.
So does the high flow of illegal immigration divert resources used to adjudicate other immigration benefits? And if so, is there an impact on individuals seeking other immigration benefits?
Absolutely. You know, looking at USCIS, the backlog of affirmative asylum cases for people that are in this country that are trying to get asylum, the backlog of affirmative cases for people seeking all sorts of immigration benefits. And Mr. Chairman, right now, I actually have immigration clients, and I can tell you the lines are very, very long because so much of the resources have been put to address or to funnel in people from the southwest border instead of focusing on large other swaths of legal immigrants that are trying to come do this the way that we've always said under the law. The bottom line is the law is not being followed. If the law was being followed, we wouldn't be here.
So what policies would the administration need to implement to start to get the situation under
control? The first policy is simply follow the law. Start with expedited removal. Make sure that people who are going through are getting their credible fear, but that they are detained during that process as Congress has prescribed. Move forward with that. Get them into immigration court as quickly as possible. The previous administration, we did that. We had people in immigration court quickly.
And here's what former ICE Director Tom Homan had to say about the policies that are incentivizing illegal immigration.
This is by design. There are thousands of empty ICE beds already paid for by the taxpayer, but this administration rather put them in a hotel room at $500 a night or free medical care, 3 squares a day. And, you know, and the policies this administration is driving illegal immigration. They know the cartels sell the fact you can cross the border legally, you get processed quickly, you'll get flown to the city of your choice, a taxpayer dime, you'll be put in a hotel and be taken care of. And even when you lose your case, you're not going to be removed because the secretary told ICE, unless you're convicted of an aggravated felony or you're a national security threat, you're not a target for arrest. That drives more people to come.
And when you dig a little deeper, even certain states and cities are offering additional incentives to improve quality of life for migrants, including free room and board, free phones. Yeah, they're handed free phones. They're handed gift cards and monthly payments. Right there, can you imagine? Illegals getting free money payments from the federal government on your taxpayer dollars while you're struggling right now. This is all happening. It's all helping to make illegal immigration an appealing option for many people. For instance, California lawmakers have proposed a bill to amend the California Dream for all shared appreciation loans. Yeah, listen to this. The bill's aim is to extend the state's zero down, no interest, no monthly payment home loan program to include illegal immigrants. New York City Mayor Eric Adams just rolled out a pilot program offering prepaid debit cards to migrants for grocery costs in the city.
Do you ever wonder how Nectar can offer such an incredible deal for their adjustment?
You're receiving that kind of help right now? The contract outlines a $53 million budget in which immigrant families can receive an average of $12 per day per family member, with each card having a limit of $10,000. They had to cut city services for New Yorkers in order to pay for this program, but who cares, right? Meanwhile, plenty of New Yorkers are struggling with poverty and homelessness. According to the Coalition for the Homeless, the affordable housing crisis has resulted in the highest rates of homelessness in New York since the Great Depression. The city is overburdened. While the rights are limited, the city has decided that migrants still have a right to shelter, even kicking out people of high-rise hotels and really expensive hotels and putting illegal immigrants in there. Thousands of unsheltered people sleep in the streets and the subway system each night to make way for illegal immigrants. So Americans getting kicked out for illegal immigrants, just so you understand what's going on here.
Okay. Any comments?
Shalom. Yes, and I've been reading up on that, and even in March the 27th of 2021, they in New Jersey, they was assisting immigrants with cash, and in Arizona, all these places were assisting them, and now that it's getting down to the point where abundance are coming over, because just like the men said, because of the money, and certain states are getting kickbacks because of the immigrants. But you would hear them rally about get them out of here. They're this, they're that, but they're getting kickbacks for having them in their states, and they're moving most of them to the north.
Like that something?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have any comments on that? Okay, trying to find this other video because I want to see it. Okay, I don't see it. So we'll start reading out of, I'm opening up for some questions, comments. Anybody have any questions, comments about anything that we heard us talking about or like something they came across? They want to get some clarity on it.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, the last video that you was playing, right?
Okay.
And he was saying as the, people that are paying taxes, working, barely making ends meet and so forth are getting evicted, they're losing their vehicles, lights getting cut off and so forth. And to get assistance for that, we got to jump through hoops, right? But the immigrants are coming over here, getting the best of the best, becoming squatters, actually taking over people's homes. It's
So
like you have to see these are signs. And excuse me, sir, this is something that has been going on for a minute now. It's just that it's becoming more we are becoming more aware of it. You know what I'm saying? Because of the high prices of everything. You see them. I know here we ride around here, they got new vehicles and everything, and then can't even speak any English.
right. And look at you crazy.
Right.
Oh yeah. So that's another sign too, because I mean, why? It's got to be the reason why they're doing that. Why are you doing it? It must be something coming down the road. The reason you're doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir, it has to be. It just baffles me sometimes when I'm out and about and you see them with 2 and 3 buggies of groceries, and like I say, driving a 2024 new vehicle, and
Right.
the houses that they seem to be living in, like they living good and not working at all. They just living off of the benefits, and we're here working ourselves to death, some of us working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, paying taxes, and we still barely making it.
Oh yeah. And the government don't care.
Exactly, sir.
Right. So
Shalom.
yeah.
Yes, and some of them are still out on the corners, portraying the homeless situation, but they do have a place to go. They do probably have a vehicle 2 blocks down in another parking lot, and they be on the corner, or they go in the store and try to sound like they're speaking English, and there's broken English, and wanting you to help out with some things. I've seen that happen. I was in Walmart, and one lady asked the other couple and she had a baby and she was trying to speak English, and she said she doesn't have any money, but she had cosmetics and stuff in her buggy. I looked over at it and I kept walking. It's like,
Right.
yes, sir.
Oh yeah. That's the crazy part about it is, like I said, which is insulting. They assume when you understand what our plot is as Black Americans, as African Americans over in America, they come over here with these lame games as if we can't see through what they're doing. You know what I mean? You looking right at them, they don't think like they play the game like you can't speak, or you can't speak no English. You know what I'm saying? So how you going in and out of these stores? How you getting around if you can't speak no English or you don't understand what's going on? It's lame.
Yes, sir. And you're reading packages because it's not in your language if you're from, if you're not,
Right,
if it's in Spanish, and most stuff is here, it's not written in Spanish in detail.
right. So let me see what the brother talking about. It says most migrants are getting jobs as Uber and Lyft drivers. They're not all homeless. Okay.
OMG.
And this on? Here we go. Right here. I think this got something tied to it too.
Vital resources, food and water. The Grab is a documentary that chronicles the way some countries are attempting to control these global resources. Here's a clip from the trailer.
Food has become much more powerful than oil.
How do you think that's going to end?
It's not just China, not just Russia. This is Wall Street, big money, leasing land to foreign countries. I thought maybe there might be more to it than that. Turns out there was.
I mean, it's like a who's who. It's like the MVPs of the mercenary world.
What if there's an uprising?
So that's why we call it private military corporations.
One of the most notorious mercenaries on the planet. You have thousands of his emails.
Correct. The journalist and director behind the film, Nate Halverson and Gabriella Cowperthwaite, joined Hari Srinivasan to discuss whether the fight over our most precious commodities could lead to the next major geopolitical conflict.
Christian, thanks. Nate Halverson, Gabriella Copperthwaite, thank you both for joining us. You have a new film out called The Grab, and it is about how food and water are going to affect the geopolitics of everything going forward. Before we get into our conversation, I want to set up this clip here. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Every century is characterized by a key commodity.
And food is a very obvious and central way to wield power.
I came across this classified cable telling companies to go overseas and buy up food and water resources. And a lot of this is happening in the shadows, quietly.
Nate, give us this kind of 30,000 foot view if you can. I mean, you've been following different kind of pulling at different threads of this story for a decade now. How did you put it together in this longer arc?
Yeah, that's right. When I first started looking at this, I didn't have a strong understanding of what was going on, that we had moved almost into this new epoch in the 21st century where food and water are almost becoming what oil was in the 20th century, where intelligence communities, defense departments, were all looking at food and water security as a top-line national security issue. And they had elevated these issues to begin to wonder how are they going to be able to feed their populations going forward, but also how does food and water now become a geopolitical tool going into the 21st century as these resources grow, increasingly scarce.
So, Gabriella, from the outset, if somebody says, there's going to be a big geopolitical impact of food and water, how is there a good narrative arc? I mean, the filmmaking is a very different process sometimes than just the reporting that Nate and his colleagues were doing.
Yeah, it's pretty labyrinthian. I think that learning about Nate's initial reporting and kind of, he had started reporting out a few of these stories and really like the China Smithfield story, Arizona water story. And those I kind of saw as portals of entry to this much bigger issue, which was really essentially that powerful entities are grabbing up the final resources that are left out from underneath us and largely without us knowing it. And that felt jaw-dropping to me when reported out, all the different iterations felt kind of connected, but felt very important.
Nate, for our audience that's not familiar with the reports that you did on Smithfield Foods and how basically the Chinese government and the Chinese National Bank was backing a purchase of Smithfield Foods, which is responsible for 1 in every 4 pigs in the United States, right? Or the Arizona water story. What do these different ideas have in common?
Yeah, I mean, that Smithfield Food story was when China's largest meat company, Shuangwei, effectively purchased 1 in 4 American pigs with the financial backing and also at the directorate of the Chinese government. It was part of their 5-year plan to go overseas and to buy up food and water supplies because China no longer has enough water to grow enough food to meet their growing demand, which is really a demand driven by their growing middle class. People become wealthier, they want to eat more meat, and meat just requires more water to grow more food to produce. And so we saw this reach by China across the world, including in the United States. And so after I did that story, I began wondering, okay, is this just a one-off? Is China the sole example of this trend? And it turns out definitely not. One of the other stories that I found was that the largest dairy company in the Middle East, which is in Riyadh, had gone into the Arizona desert and bought essentially 15 square miles of Wile E. Coyote kind of saguaro cactus-like desert and was pumping the water up to grow hay to send that back to Riyadh to feed the dairy cows there. And it's an unregulated part of Arizona, which means that if you buy the land, you effectively can pump up as much of that water as you want. And that's what we were seeing where, people in Arizona in these local communities didn't realize that there was this global now grab for their water. What they did see was that their own domestic wells in their homes were beginning to go dry.
And that's sort of the trend we're not just seeing in Arizona or in the US, but we're beginning to see all around.
Why is Zambia kind of an example of what's happening in Africa? Why go there? I mean, we've had conversations on this program before about land rights, but what's happening there is a microcosm of what might be happening in other parts of Africa or other parts of the world.
It has water, it's arable, and it's inexpensive. And so it is a prime place to be able to go in and create value for people that are investing in farmland, and to be able to export crops to other wealthier countries. And it's not that Zambia isn't a country of laws. It is. It's actually, the judicial system there is highly regarded. Nonetheless, when you are living in a remote area, you don't speak, the predominant government language of the government, and you don't have access to justice. If you don't have money to hire an attorney, to get to Lusaka, to go to court, you effectively then have no justice. And that's what we saw. Was that folks that they didn't know their rights, they didn't know how to access their rights, and they didn't, frankly, have the money to access their rights. So it becomes an opportunity for others.
There's a scene when you mentioned Zambia, you all try to go there and you're detained at the airport. I'm not giving too much away, but your names are on a list. You're not welcome.
Right there, smack dab on it, was all of our names and passport numbers. They were definitely waiting for us.
Nations as well. So really being able to rely on that country as a planet is something that we've all kind of assumed would be something that, this place is going to be intact. No one's ever going to touch that. The idea that this stems just directly from, the Russian cowboys and the beef. But, if Russia is able to control beef and can also control grain, you can see that there's no better example of a grab, when you think about it that way. But, everything that Nate is saying about the geopolitics of what Russia is doing bore out in this one story.
So it's not just foreign countries or companies that are coming in and buying property and farmland in the U.S. There are U.S. companies or ones based in the U.S. that are also using this land or leasing it out to other countries or companies.
China does not have enough water to feed its population. The reason that they are such large food importers is that they are importing food as a proxy for water. So our way is basically buying farmland, and we want to make sure that we're focusing on areas that are water rich and that can sell crops to areas that are water poor. So in 2018, we purchased a farm in southwest Arkansas that is 25,000 acres in size. And to put that in perspective, that is close to 2 times the size of Manhattan.
What's the state of play or the landscape, if you will, across the country in how this ownership works and whether these resources of water or food can be exported?
Yeah, that's right. And there is a federal law that requires foreign ownerships to register when purchasing farmland. But my understanding is the compliance isn't that great. And there are states that have some restrictions on how foreign ownership can own land. For instance, Iowa has some restrictions on it. But also there is a lot of questions around who ultimately owns a company that can make it very difficult to understand at the end of the day, whose money is it that's buying that farmland. And so I think there's an increasing interest on the national level, on state levels, to understand who is purchasing the land. And we're seeing some push from lawmakers in that regard.
Okay. Any comments on that? So that explains a lot to me right there. That's a lot of what they know is coming. And there's another reason why they can predict that, like he said, by 2030, the majority of the population of the world is going to be in Africa because of this very thing right here. Food shortages and what they call it, farmable land. All the good land is over in Africa. So It only makes sense that it's before it's all said and done, that's where everybody gonna be at. We already see them migrating in that direction right now. Okay, so that's got a lot to do with the events that they got that's happening today. The powers that be. Okay. Any comments?
Shalom. Yes, sir. So this has been happening way before, now it just coming to the light, like you said. In 2021, Russia was getting hit their food from Germany, Italy, France, and China. And I can't, like when we had our discussion on China buying up those ports and building ports around in Africa and
Right.
building ports and, funding them all this money for their airports and helping them with their their ports around their, the Gulf of the area. I believe that they say, just like said, they're rich country. This continent is rich, so they're gonna, you know, they said it wasn't gonna ask for money back or anything like that. Whenever they can give it, they give it. But now, as they're reporting, they're drying up more and more. They're gonna start claiming those or calling in on those loans that they gave them. And at my thinking, they're gonna take, you know, areas that they helped out. They're gonna, if they're gonna go there, they're gonna use those areas that they gave the loan to build these airports and things that they have over there. They said they can make 2,000 homes, build 2,000 homes in Africa in 20 days. That was on the news. And I don't know what kind of houses they putting up, but they went over there and did that. Um, I remember when former Trump was in office, his his daughter's husband, sister, was selling land here in the United States to some of these Chinese investors. So it's it's all coming to light, like you said.
Okay, yeah, that's the road and belt initiative that China got going on, buying up all the ports. Like I said, they looking for is they know that when it's all said and done, everybody gonna be in Africa, which is all part of the prophecy. Anybody else?
Shalom. I came in late. I apologize. But the little bit that I did hear, it's just fascinating to me that they think that they can outsmart the Most High. They think that by trying to buy up all the land and all the resources, that somehow it's going to give them an edge in the end. They can do all of that all they want to now, but God still has the last word, and they're not
Right.
going to benefit from the things that they're doing now and how they done misled and robbed and pillaged all these people and all the things they've did all this time, that somehow that's going to save them in the end by the so-called investments that they're making. I don't believe that. I think God
Right.
still has the final say and the final word.
Right. And like I said, he got things that he's already spoken into existence. For example, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You do something to your brother, it's gonna be done to you. It's like same way it's spring, summer, winter, and fall. You're not gonna get away. Whatever you sow, you're gonna reap it. But they under the assumption that they ain't gonna reap what they didn't sow.
Exactly. They think, like I said, all the money in the world that they make and buy is not going to save them because we're not going to be using that kind of currency in the end. That ain't going to be,
Right.
I mean, like I said, they think these billionaires and I don't know what comes up, trillionaire and all that stuff, somehow their money going to save them and all the evil that they do. It's not.
Right. Exactly. That's from a lack of understanding. Like I was saying about thinking like a Hebrew, they don't have no idea how it goes. The thing they thinking that, like I said, they can do all this wicked, and then it's not gonna
Yeah,
come back on, them, but it's coming back.
exactly.
And we already see it coming back. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I'm in Jasher, chapter 3. I think I stopped at chapter 2 this morning. I'm going to read chapter 3, and then I'll see where we at. I'll read another chapter. So I'm in Jasher, book of Jasher, chapter 3. It says, Enoch lived 500 years, 65 years, and he begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after having begot Methuselah, and he served the Lord and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of the Lord, in knowledge and understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. And he was, at the expiration of many years, while he was serving the Lord and praying before him in his house, the angel of the Lord came, called him from heaven and said, here I am. And he said, rise, go forth from thy house and from thy place where thou didst hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men in order that thou may teach. So this is what I was talking about this morning. This Melchizedek right here. And appear, the angel told him, appear to the sons of men in order that thou may teach them the ways in which thou shouldst go and the works in which thou must accomplish to enter into the ways of God. So when you see this right here, it's not a coincidence that Noah did what he did, because of this what all of them was doing. All those men that you see before the flood, when it says that the Lord said, Adam had was Cain killed Abel, and then Adam had another son and called his name Seth. So he had other sons and daughters, but the one Seth was called. So Seth became Melchizedek. After Adam died, Seth became. Then Seth had a son. He had a bunch of sons and daughters, but one of them he called Canaan. That's the lineage that you're following. That's the order of Melchizedek right there. And so we see right here that it's on Enoch right here. He says in verse 3, and it was an expiration of many years while he was serving the Lord. See that? And praying before him in his house, that the angel of the Lord called, see that, to him from heaven, and he said, here I am. And he said, rise, go forth from thy house and from the place where thou doest hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that thou may teach them the ways in which thou shalt go and the work in which thou must accomplish to enter into the ways of God. So we see it right here. But another thing I was want to show you too was, you know how they say that in the beginning was the word, which was supposed to be Jesus, right? And they said that he had the Son of Man hid in the bosom until he showed up in Bethlehem in the manger. All that time he dealing with all these men right here, but JC he. But when you come to find out how they operate, this was he right here. Let me read it again. Enoch was the one he. It said the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding, and he wisely retired. See that? Retired from the sons of men, and he secreted himself from them for many days. And he was in the expiration of many years. So many years he hid while he was serving the Lord, praying before him in his house, that the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, he said, here I am. And the angel said, arise, go forth from thy house and from the place where thou doest hide. This was hid right here. Where thou is hid, hide thyself and appear to the sons of men in order that thou mayest teach them the ways in which they should go and the works in which they must accomplish in order to enter into the ways of God. So then they come with JC. Now all of a sudden he teaching. But we see it all come from back here. And it's just because of JC, we didn't see none of this. And even if we read it, we didn't understand. But anyway, verse 5 says, and Enoch rose up according to the words of the Lord and went forth from his house and from his place and from the chamber in which he was concealed. There it is again. And he went to the sons of men, taught them the ways of the Lord, and that the time assembled for sons of men and acquainted them with the instructions of the Lord. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all the places. Now, this supposedly was the, but they like what, 3,000 or 4,000 years too late. The Apostle Paul and all of them, they about 3,000 years late. So it says, Enoch rose up according to the word of the Lord, went forth from his house and from his place and from the chambers in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men, taught them the ways of the Lord, and at that time assembled the sons of men and acquainted them with the instructions of the Lord. So go back to JC. He come down to the Sea of Galilee looking for men, right? Say verse 6. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all the places where the sons of men dwell, saying, where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Lord and good works? And let him come to Enoch. So go to the New Testament. It's the exact same thing they said JC went when he came to the Galilee. So he was looking for men, calling out men, right? It says, and all the sons of men then assembled to him, and all who desired this thing went to Enoch, and Enoch reigned over them. See that? Reigned. So if he reigning, you're king. If you're a king, he's Melchizedek. So Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the word of the Lord, and they came and bowed to him, and they heard his words. And the Spirit of God was upon Enoch, and he taught all his men the wisdom. Go back to JC and 12 disciples. See, and he taught all his men the wisdom of God and his ways. And the sons of men served the Lord all the days of Enoch. And they called to hear his, and they came to hear his wisdom. And all the kings and the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and their judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom. And they bowed down to him. And they also required Enoch to reign over them. See that? Which he consented. So let's go back and look at what I was talking about this morning. Verse 9, and all the kings, them giants. So right there, we know they ain't got nothing to do with Adam's descendants. So it says, and all the kings and the sons of men. See that? Kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and their judges, came to Enoch. These people ain't out of Adam's lineage. These other people, 6-day man, but these right here, the giants. And then you got 6-day man. And then there's a whole bunch of intermingling been going on with that. We saw how Lamech and Cain's lineage married into Adam's lineage through Canaan 2 daughters. So it says, and they also required of Enoch to reign over them, of which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them. See that? And they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, the ways of the Lord, and he made peace among them. So king of righteousness, right? King, shalom, Jerusalem, peace. So it says, and peace was throughout all the earth during the life of Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness. There go the king of righteousness right there. He did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of the Lord. These are the generations of Enoch, Methuselah, Elisha, Elimelech, 3 sons, and their sister Milcah and Naamah, and Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begot Lamech. And he was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death. And his 2 sons with Enoch and Methuselah, and his son buried him with great pomp as they bury the burial of kings in the caves which God had told him. And in that place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. it has therefore became a custom among the sons of men to do this to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as the Lord God had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time, Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men and to secret himself, hide himself as at first in order to serve the Lord. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secret himself from them, but he kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised the Lord his God. And the days on which he went out and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of the Lord, and they asked him about the Lord, and he told them. So look at this right here. You can see where they got JC. By reading the book of Enoch, that's how they came up with the JC, the character, right? 20. And he did in this manner for many years. He afterwards concealed himself for 6 days and appeared to his people 1 day in 7. And after that, once in a month, and then once in a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him and desired again to see the face of Enoch and to hear his words, but they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the God-like awe that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore, no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. So here we go right here. Remember what they told Daniel and Mordecai. They said this is what they was talking about right here. It says that Adam had this on him. Adam had self. Adam had a son in his likeness. So if Adam had it, self had it, and it come on down. So what was the main reason why we was getting lynched over here? Because of that. It's the same thing right here. And they would say, don't look at us. Because of when we looked at them, they looked at us, they saw that conviction and judgment that was in our face and on us. We convicted them. That's where the wholesale slaughter and killing was coming from. Okay? Even to this day, right? It says, and all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth amongst them, and they did so. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. Enoch spoke to them the words of the Lord, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, may the king live, may the king live. And then sometime after, when the kings and the princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of God, behold, an angel of the Lord being appeared unto Enoch from heaven, and he wished to bring him up to heaven to make him reign there over the sons of God, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. And when that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth and taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them divine instructions. And he said to them, I have been required to ascend into heaven, and therefore do not know the day of my going. So here we go. Jesus again right here. I have been required to ascend into heaven. Ain't that what JC did? It says, and now therefore I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and I will give you instructions before I leave you. I will leave you in how to act upon the earth, whereby you may live. And he did so. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them instructions. See that? He gave them instructions. So what JC brought? What was his purpose? Okay? And he reproved them, and he placed before them statutes and judgments to do upon the earth. And he made peace among them, and he taught them everlasting life, and he dwelled with them some time teaching them all these things. Like I say, ain't nothing for JC to do, right? And they told Enoch what they had seen, and Enoch said to them, "On my account does this horse descend upon the earth. The time has come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seen by you." And the horse descended at that time, stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, "Where is the man who delighted to know the ways of the Lord his God? Let him come this day to Enoch before he is taken from us." Go back to JC now. You got to put JC in this. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed. Gospel, right? Saying, "Where is the man who delighted to know the ways of the Lord his God? And let him come this day to Enoch, before he is taken from us." And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day, and all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he bade them serve the Lord, walk in his ways all the days of your life, and he continued to make peace among them. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, and about 800,000 men, and they went with him one day's journey. So let's look at something else I want to shine a light on. So go back to JC, go back to the New Testament. I think Markel had brought this up a couple times, but notice where everywhere he going is drama. So go back to where Daniel and Mordecai and Samuel, when the spirit of the God that was on them, peace. It was peace around them. Couldn't nobody come up and handcuff them or chop their ear off and all that bull crap. They couldn't do that. So look what it says about Enoch. It was after this. This is chapter 3, verse 32. It was after this that he rose up and he rode upon a horse and he went. No, gotta go back one more verse. 31. And all the sons of men assembled. Check it out. All the sons of men assembled came to Enoch that day, and all the kings of the earth with their princes and the counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch then taught the sons of men, check it out, taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, gave them divine instructions, and he bade them serve the Lord, walk in all his ways all the days of your life. And here you go. And he continued to make peace with them. All we see, JC, drama everywhere he went. There's two different spirits. Okay? See, and it was after this that he rose up and rode upon a horse, and he went forth. All the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him on one day's journey. And the second day he said to them, "Return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die." And some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, "Return to your tents, lest you may die." But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day, some of the men remained and clung to him. And they said to him, "We will go with thee to the place where thou goest, as the Lord liveth. Death only shall separate us." And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them. And they went after him and would not return. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of the remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day. See that? 6 days, right? And on the 7th day, that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind. I told you what was in the whirlwind. We know in Ezekiel chapter 1 what's in the whirlwind, with horses and chariots of fire. And on the 8th day, so you think I concocted the 8th day, here it is right here. And on the 8th day, all the kings, so 7 days, a week. And then start again. So that's the 8th day is the first day of the second week, right? So it says, and all the kings went to the place, and they found the earth still filled with snow, and upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, "Come, let us break through the snow and see. Perhaps the men that remain with Enoch are dead and are now under the stones of snow." And they searched but could not find him, and he had ascended into heaven. Okay, that was chapter 4. So we see right there where the JC story came from. If you can't see that, I think you need to go pray. Okay? Anybody got any questions or comments from what I read? No questions or comments?
Shalom. It just kind of underscores everything that we've been talking about is that everything that they're doing, if you look at the modern times, that they're trying to insert themselves into God's promise and God's plan. And no matter
Right.
what they do, it's not going to be successful. It's just repeating over and over again. I kind of remind me something what Cheryl said earlier, with everything that they're so-called, quote unquote investments that the world is trying to do. It's just their way of trying to insert themselves. But it doesn't matter. All of the investments that they make, all the progress it even appears that they make has nothing to do ultimately with God's plan. And so his will be the only one that's going to stand in the end. So that's what I took from that. It's just a continuation of them keep trying to insert themselves. Especially when you talk about the story of Jesus, how all of a sudden now it's not the promise that was given to Abraham. Now the Jews and the Gentiles all could be as one. That's not what it was said. Those are two different things. Those are two different
Right.
gods, two different promises.
Right. It's a Hellenization. That's what it is. When the Greeks came, they uh, intermingled everything, twisted everything all together, made it, synchronized it. That's all that is. Like I said, the New Testament never was written in Hebrew. It came into existence in Greek. That's Hellenization right there. The Old Testament is Tanakh, and the Torah was in Hebrew. So that's a whole nother story that the Greeks came up with in New Testament, the God and everything.
Yeah.
So
And then
go ahead.
no, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, I was just talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then even like now it makes me think about, one of the things I used to ask you about all the time is how are we gonna be separated out because it's so, we're so intermingled, but that was done on purpose. They think by intermarrying and having children and all that, not just the people here in America, but around the world, that somehow they're gonna buy their way into the promise, but he's still gonna separate everybody out. And that's that, I
Exactly.
mean, the Bible says that, the word says that.
Right. Right. And another thing about that before we go is so many people assume. I heard a conversation earlier today about the money that these billionaires and especially these Edomites, the Rothschild and all that, the money that they wheeling around, how much money it is. So when people see that, they assume that's never going to be overturned, or they can't never lose that wealth. They're gonna always have that wealth, and they're always gonna be in charge. Well, all you gotta do is look at us, David and Solomon them before that same wealth they got. David and them had. So God is over Israel. That's in the Old Testament. He made us the Israelites cough it up. It was a wealth transfer. So if he can make it cough it up kick it out of our hands, then he can kick it out of their hands.
Right.
Just like that overnight. Let me read that. Right, matter of fact, let me read that. I'll close out on that. So I'm in Isaiah chapter 60. Okay. Page is all tricked out. So I'm in chapter 60 of Isaiah. Okay. It says, chapter 60 says, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the whole earth, and gross darkness the people, but the Lord shall arise upon thee. See that? And his glory shall be seen upon thee, and the Gentiles shall come to thy light. Kings of the, to thy brightness, to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall be nursed upon thy side. Then verse 5, then thou shalt see, here you go, and flow together, and thine hands, thy heart shall fear and be enlarged, because, here you go, this is the wealth transfer. The abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles, that's the Rothschilds and all these white folks, right, shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee. The drummery of Midian and Ephah, and all they that from Sheba shall come. They shall bring forth gold, incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. Right? And then even our flocks come back. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebat shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with the scepters upon thine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. So there it is right there. So the same way he did this right here, he's going to do this. He did it over there in Deuteronomy 28 when he took it away from us. That's how they got it. So that's where the trick come in. That they don't understand that the God that the Hebrews is, which it ain't JC, he can do this with a flip of a hand. He took it from us. He beat it out of the Egyptians' hand. And he promises right here in what I just read in chapter 60, he's going to do it to them. Just like that. Okay? It ain't nothing to worry about. Okay? Anybody got any comments before we go? Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I'll see everybody Tuesday for our Israelite Advanced Bible Study. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shalom.